The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce over 8 new characters in this story by director J.J. Abrams, while also reintroducing many of the legacy characters as well as the sequel trilogy characters into the final installment of the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So as we get closer to the release of this movie, we are learning more about this film and exactly where J.J. Abrams plans to take the fans around the world for the end of the sequel trilogy and the end of this massive franchise that really has been with us ever since 1977. And this really is a big deal for J.J. Abrams in order to get this right, in order to satisfy the fans. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for episode 9. Now, specifically, a description of Kylo Ren wielding his ignited crossguard lightsaber, where it's described that he is facing the dark acolyte that eventually reveals himself to be connected to the spirit of Sidious, where it's described that during Palpatine's lecture to Kylo, once he takes over the acolyte's mind, his speech begins to change to sound exactly like Ian McDiarmid's, where the acolyte's face begins to age slightly from the dark energy. It's described that eventually Palpatine performs the iconic Force Scream attack while spinning in mid-air, just like in Episode 3, where both Kylo and Palpatine's sabers eventually clash. It's said that all of this is happening while Rey is knocked unconscious in the background. While Sidious fights Kylo, it's described that he exchanges dialogue to Ren about his grandfather, Darth Vader, and telling Kylo to him that he failed because he was weak, and that Kylo, on the other hand, has potential, where Sidious knocks down Kylo Ren to the ground, where it's said that he gives him two options, that Sidious can kill him now, or that Kylo can permit him to move into his body and rule the universe as one. This is where Kylo is described to fail Palpatine's trick, is that Palpatine needs Kylo to gain more anger, to be more in tune with the dark side, and that by revealing the truth, it brings fear into Kylo Ren, giving a better chance secretly for Sidious to have the ability to move into Ren's body eventually. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and why this is a direct callback to Dark Empire. Now, you guys may recall that in Dark Empire, I don't know if you guys read the comic line back in the late 1990s, but during the 1990s, we actually had a story in which Luke turned to the dark side under Palpatine's rule and manipulation. And there's a sequence in where Palpatine reveals to Luke that he can even go into Luke's body if he wanted to, and to rule the galaxy together. And that to me sounds like this is definitely JJ's way of cherry-picking that moment and introducing it in episode 9, except it's for Kylo Ren, as opposed to Luke Skywalker. I don't know about you guys, but I am loving the sound of this because this is something that we have never seen or expected to see in a Star Wars movie, where we have the spirit of Sidious talking through the Dark Acolyte and how he plans to take over Kylo Ren's body, literally telling Kylo his plan. And that telling him his plan is the secret trick of all, is that it causes fear within Kylo Ren of what Palpatine plans to do to Ren. And that fear leads to Kylo becoming more in tune with the dark side. So from what it seems, the spirit of Sidious needs a dark side oriented body in order to take control of that vessel. And that's a very interesting point for Kylo Ren, because we do know that Ren has that mighty Skywalker blood, as Luke Skywalker said in The Last Jedi to Rey, and we can only understand now why Sidious has all his eyes on Kylo Ren, and why, from what we went over a couple of weeks ago, and why Sidious explains to Kylo that he has been watching him over since he was unborn. Now, that to me sounds a lot like what Snoke said as well in the novelization of The Force Awakens, where Leia explains to Han that Snoke was watching over Kylo Ren ever since he was within her womb. Now, that really does sound like, and is probably the biggest hint and or indicator, that at one point in time, both Snoke and Palpatine were one, the same exact person, if you will. But I digress. This whole entire lightsaber duel sequence sounds incredible, where we do have the Force Scream sequence coming back into fruition here, where he spins in mid-air and screams out loud like a demon of some kind, scaring Kylo Ren and throwing him off guard, and engaging in a lightsaber duel while Rey is unconscious in the background. So, not only is this very iconic to the original trilogy, because this is yet again, Sidious facing another Skywalker, technically here, of course, he is of Skywalker blood, facing another Skywalker family member, just like how Palpatine went up against Luke on board of the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi. So I'm really loving how Palpatine is being introduced so far into the storyline of Episode 9, and what J.J. Abrams plans to do with that story. It really seems like things are moving forward with, of course, the sequel trilogy, and how they plan to really set things right in Episode 9. So, let me know what you guys think about this whole entire scenario of Palpatine's trick to Kylo Ren, about him unveiling his true plans, and how him revealing those plans are only going to make things more possible for Palpatine to complete that task. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.